Hi everyone, today I am going to talk about Terraform. What is Terraform and why do we need Terraform and how we can set up a Terraform configuration file so that we can deploy Azure resources. So that's what I am going to talk about today. So according to the ChatGPT, Terraform is an open source infrastructure as a code tool developed by HashiCorp. It allows users to define, provision, and manage cloud infrastructure resources in a consistent and declarative manner using configuration language called HashiCorp configuration language. With Terraform, we can define infrastructure in a human readable configuration file. For example, let's assume that you have a software business, right? So you are selling software to customers. When a new customer comes to your business, always you have to create and provision new resources. Let's assume that you have a web application. You have to deploy Azure Web App Service to deploy your application. Sometimes you might definitely you have to create a database to the customer, and you have to create a separate storage account for the customer. So every time a new customer comes to your business, you have to create and provision a new resources, right? If you have no some kind of automative way to provision these resources, you have to do it by yourself manually. You have to configure all the things manually. So this is a repetitive task, right? So every time when a new customer comes to your business, you have to do this in a repetitive way, and it's time wasting. If there isn't something that we can do in a repetitive way, then we can automate it, right? And even when we are doing this kind of a repetitive task, there is a lot of possibility that happen human errors. So then we can there should be a way to automate these repetitive tasks. That's where the Terraform come to the picture. Using Terraform, we can automate managing infrastructure. We can create, we can update, and we can delete infrastructure. That's why we need Terraform. Okay, now I am going to set up a Terraform configuration file in my local machine. Before that, we have to download Terraform. So I am using a Windows machine, therefore I download a Terraform. Download Terraform for Windows. So I will go to the Terraform by HashiCorp. So I'm going to download the community version. So go into the download section. And from here, let's select the operating system, the Windows. That's what I am using. So I'm going to download. Okay, download is completed. So let's go to the download folder. So here you can see the Terraform downloaded. So I'm going to copy the Terraform application, right? That's what I need. So then I have created a separate folder in my D drive called Terraform. So I'm going to paste that Terraform application to here. Okay, let's open CMD here. Can open CMD here, right? Okay. Now we can check whether the version of the Terraform. Okay, we can see the Terraform version. So now we can say the Terraform is installed in my local machine. I said earlier, for automate the infrastructure management through the Terraform, we have to configure a Terraform configuration file. For that, we are using Visual Studio Code. After you install the Visual Studio Code in your local machine, you have to install some extension. Go to the extension section of the Visual Studio Code and click and search the Terraform. So when you search Terraform, you will get this Terraform extension. You have to install it and go to the HashiCorp Terraform extension, and you have to install that as well, and the Azure Terraform. You have to install this extension as well, because these extensions extend the functionality of Visual Studio Code so that we can create and execute the Terraform configuration file. Please make sure do this necessary installation before we start the tutorial. Okay, after installing the necessary extension, as I showed you previous steps, we have created a Terraform file, the Terraform folder, right? So I have to go to that folder, open folder, and I will go to the specific path and I will open the Terraform folder that I have created already. So in this folder, as previously showed you, the application of the Terraform is included. So I will go and create a file that include the Terraform configuration. I will name it as a main.tf. So this is the Terraform configuration file. The configuration that we are going to do in a few minutes are written in this file. We use Terraform for manage cloud infrastructure, right? So we can integrate the Terraform with different cloud providers. We can use Terraform with AWS, we can use Terraform with Azure, we can use Terraform with Google Cloud providers. So for that, we have to find based on the cloud provider, we have to find the specific provider that we need to include in the Terraform configuration file. Because of I am using Azure, so I have to find the Azure provider for Terraform. Azure provider for Terraform. So I will go to the documentation of the Terraform. For based on the cloud provider, it has several providers. So for Azure, we have the Azure provider. The Azure provider can be used to configure infrastructure in Microsoft Azure. And there can be AWS provider as well. AWS provider for Terraform. So use the Amazon Web Services provider to interact with the many resources supported by AWS. In the AWS, we can use AWS provider. In Azure, we use Azure provider. So here we can take the provider, the code related to the Azure provider. So I will go to here and I will copy the configuration code and paste it here. Okay, so I provided this code snippet into the ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT to explain this code.
and the ChatGPT explained the given Terraform code snippet, define the Terraform block and provide a configuration for working with Azure using Azure Resource Manager. This code has two blocks. The first one is the Terraform block. So this is the Terraform block and this is provide a configuration block. There are two blocks. So let's go and see the purpose of each block. So when it comes to the Terraform block, this block specify the provider and its version required for your Terraform configuration. So we are using Azure Resource Manager as a provider and its version. And when it comes to the second one is the provider configuration, the second block. In the provider configuration, this block configure the Azure Resource Manager provider. This section is where you can specify setting like authentication details. So this is the section that we are mentioning authentication details, right? So when we are using this Terraform configuration file and we are executing this file should able to deal with my Azure tenant, right? That's mean this Terraform file, this configuration file should be able to authenticate with my particular Azure tenant, and this code should have access to manage resources in my cloud infrastructure. For that, this configuration file need authentication access. So when we go to the documentation of the Azure provider, in the documentation they have mentioned there are several authentication methods. The Terraform supports number of different methods for authenticating to Azure. So there are several methods has been mentioned in this documentation. But I am going to use the easiest one, the authenticating to Azure using service principal and client secret. I am using that specific section. So Azure provider authenticating using a service principal with a client secret. So let's go to the section and try to understand what it's explained. We recommend using either service principal or managed service identity when running Terraform non-interactively, such as when running Terraform in a CL server, and authenticated using Azure CLI when running Terraform locally. Creating service principal. So now we are going to use, like what we are going to do is we are going to create a service principal, and using service principal, this Terraform configuration file can authenticate with my Azure tenant. A service principal is an application with Azure Active Directory whose authentication token can be used as the client ID, client secret, tenant ID, and the subscription ID. So after we provide this configuration into my Terraform configuration code using this client ID, client secret, and tenant ID and the subscription ID, my code can authenticate with my Azure tenant. So we can create service principal using Azure CLI, and as well as we can using Azure portal as well. So I am going to create the service principal using Azure portal and show how you can create the Azure provider authentication details and put it into the code. So you are going to this section, and the section down in the code you will be able to see relevant provider configuration. So this is the configuration, configure the Microsoft Azure provider. So I will copy this code and I will paste it here. So I will take the full code with the features under provider configuration. There might be some kind of client secret. I will paste it here, some random value, and we will go and create the relevant the DZ, and we have to provide this client ID, client secret, tenant ID, and the subscription ID to this Terraform file. Right. For that, what we have to do is we have to create the service principal in Azure portal. There are three tasks necessary to create a service principal using Azure portal. Create an application in the Azure Active Directory, which will create an associated service principal. So I'm going to my Azure tenant, and I will go to the Microsoft Entra ID. From the Microsoft Entra ID, I am going to the app registrations. In the app registrations, I am creating an application. So I will provide the name as a Terraform application, and I will keep the default configuration, and I will register. Okay, now the Terraform application is created. So I will take the client ID, copy the client ID, and paste it here. I will paste the client ID. The tenant ID, the directory tenant ID is there. I will copy the tenant ID and paste here. And we need a subscription ID as well. So we can find the subscription ID here from the subscription. Let's go to the subscription. Inside the subscription, there is a subscription ID. Copy, and I will paste the subscription ID here. And again, like we have to go to application and we have to create a client secret. App registration, go in my Terraform application, go to manage, certificates and secrets. Let's create a new client secret. Secret. I will provide 6 months. Spelling is 6 months, and I will add. So this is the value of the secret. I will copy it. You can see the secret value in one time. So I will save here the secret. So these are the authentication that details need to configure the provider, right? But so we have provided these authentication details. Let's go to the documentation again. Generating client secret for the Azure Directory application which you will to authenticate. So grant the service principal access to manage resources in your subscription. Now we have completed these two steps. Now we have to do the third one. Grant the service principal access to manage resources in Azure subscription. So now we have created the application. So we have provided authentication details to configuration file, but we have not provided authorization access, right? So we have to provide this application, right? So this application need necessary access to manage resources in my tenant, right? So for that, I have to provide necessary access permissions to this application to manage resources in my Azure tenant. For that, I will go to the subscription. In the subscription, I will go to identity access management. Inside identity access management, I go to add role assignments. And privilege administrator role, I go to the privilege administrator roles and go to the contributor section. Next, and I'm going to select the members. So we have created the Terraform application. It should be appear here. Okay, so the Terraform application is appear. I select it. So I am going to review and assign. So I have given what role? I have given contributor role. Grant full access to manage all resources, but does not allow you to assign roles in Azure RBAC. So this is the access that I am going to provide for my application. It has grant full access to manage all resources in the environment. So I will members, as a member I provide the application name. Now I am going to assign this access to my application. Now using these details, this particular code can authenticate with my Azure tenant and it can perform necessary resource managing access as well, because I have provided relevant access. In the role assignment section, we can say the Terraform application user in the contributor section.
Okay, now we have done necessary configurations. So now what I'm going to do is I need to automate resource group creation using a Terraform, right? I'm going to do a simple task actually, creating a resource group. So in Azure Resource Manager, when we are creating a resource group, so let's go to the resource group and we'll create a resource group in Azure Resource Manager here. So I am providing the subscription and a resource group name. I will provide some kind of name called application group. This is the resource group name, and I have to put it the region Southeast Asia, and review and create. Right. So this is how we can create a resource group, right? So when we are creating the resource group, we are providing the application group, the resource group name and the region. So and I'm going to create, I will paste it here. I'm going to create a resource group using a Terraform. So let's go and see how we can create resource group in Azure using Terraform. Let's go to the relevant documentation. So this is the code that we need to require. I will copy the code and I will paste it here. I'm going to create the Azure Resource Manager resource group, and here we have to provide a name. And the name for the resource group and the location. I will use name as application group, and I will use same name here. and location, I copied the location, I will paste it here. So I need to create a resource group in Southeast Asia. This is what I need to do. So now we have created all the blocks that we needed to provision a resource group in my tenant, right? So I have provided all necessary details. Now what we have to do is we have to execute this Terraform file. So when we are executing the Terraform file, we have to do two steps. So let's go to the documentation. Azure Terraform apply. So plan and apply. Azure Terraform plan. Terraform plan. Let's go and see what is Terraform plan and apply. Terraform plan and apply. So after we creating this relevant configuration in the Azure Terraform file, we have to execute two commands. One command is a plan command. We have to create a plan and then we have to apply the plan. First we have to create the plan, then we have to apply the plan. Let's go to the documentation. In the documentation, we can see the Terraform plan command create an execution plan which lets you preview the changes that Terraform plans to make to your infrastructure. By default, when Terraform create a plan, it read the current state of the any already existing remote objects to make sure that the Terraform state is up to date. Compare the current configuration to the prior state and noting any difference. So with the Terraform plan command, what we are doing is when we are executing the plan command, it will compare this resource configuration has been mentioned in this Terraform file with my Azure tenant. As example, here what we are going to do is we are creating a Azure resource group in my Azure tenant. So when I am executing a Terraform plan, what it does is it compare this detail with my Azure tenant and check whether are there any kind of a resource group with the name application group. If there is no any kind of changes or any kind of if so with the Terraform plan command, it identified any kind of a difference, any kind of a problem that will mention in the plan. Right after the plan has no any issues, we can execute the plan. So with the apply command, the Terraform apply command execute the action proposed in a Terraform plan. So we create a plan. If plan has no any issues, then we are executing the plan using apply command. So I will copy the code and it will create a plan in main.tf plan. I will place the command here and I will enter. The following dependency selection record in the log files are inconsistent. Right. So that's mean the following dependency selection recorded in the log files are inconsistent with the current configuration. To make the initial dependency selection, that will initialize the dependency log files. Sorry, so I was missed a one very important step. So before we start executing the Terraform plan, we have to initiate the Terraform. Like we have to initiate this repository. Like we have to initiate the Terraform. Because I forgot the Terraform initiate. So I have to initiate first. Then we can apply the relevant commands. Sorry for the mistakes that I have done. So I will copy the code, I will paste here and init. I have to initiate first. Okay, now it's initiating. Give some time, because while initiating, what it does is it take the necessary configurations, necessary packages are installing here. Installing necessary packages in this folder, in this environment. So I forgot it. Now I initialize with the Terraform init command. Now you can see installing HashiCorp Azure RM, right? So it's installing. Let's give some time. Okay, now the Terraform has been successfully initialized because I run the Terraform init command. So let's clear this command terminal. Let's clear and let's execute the next our plan command. So I will execute the plan command and store the plan in a file called main.tf plan. I will copy the command, I will paste here and I will click enter. Okay, now the plan command has been executed successfully. The Terraform will perform the following actions. Will be created. Plan 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. And save plan to main.tf plan. So the main.tf plan, the file is created. The plan is saved to that specific file. That's mean now we have configured, that now my configuration file, my Terraform file and my Azure tenant is compared, and this code is identified that there is no changes. We can apply, now we can apply these particular changes and we can create this resource group. That's what the output explain. Now I will take the Terraform apply command. What it does is it apply the Terraform plan we have created. I will copy and I will execute. When I execute the command, okay, now apply complete, resource 1 added. So after we apply the plan, you can see a few output has been created here. Still creating. Creation complete after 12 seconds. In the subscription, the resource group, the application group resource group is created. So let's go to the Azure and check whether the new resource group is created or not. See, now you can see the application group resource group from the Southeast Asia region has been created by this Terraform configuration file. So we executed this Terraform configuration file and we have created a resource in Azure tenant. So then that's it for today. So within this tutorial, we have discussed what is Terraform and why do we use Terraform, and what kind of scenario that we can use Terraform, and how you can configure Terraform in your local machine, and how can you do some necessary configuration in Azure Resource Manager, right? The resource provider, Azure Resource Provider, and how to create authentication related configurations in Azure side, and how to do authorize, and how to give authorize action to your Terraform configuration. So we have learned a lot of things. So if you think this tutorial is good enough and you have learned something, please like and subscribe my YouTube channel. And if you have any kind of a question, a comment, and that you need to tell me to improve, please mention them in the comment section. If you have any kind of problem while you following this tutorial and while you are applying these concepts, please let me know in the comment section. I will support you, I will help you. So we will meet with another interesting tutorial of Terraform in near future. Until then, goodbye and thank you.